Hey there, everyone. Ervin here, and today I'll be talking about the newly announced Viper Commando Warbond rolling out for Helldivers 2 on the 13th of this month. It's got some exciting new gear and a promised change in design philosophy that seems to be being made good on, so I figured it'd be fun to talk about my thoughts on the new gear and give you my opinion on what you can expect to get out of it. Firstly, let's talk about the blog post that accompanied this Warbond's release trailer. In this blog post, Arrowhead states that they've been listening to our feedback on development and warbonds in general, and as the idea behind each warbond is to enable the players to better roleplay their favorite soldier fantasies within the Helldivers universe, it should be more important that those fantasies actually appeal to the players. For this reason, they are planning to slow down the pace in which they release warbonds, which sounds okay on its own, but they then go on to say that we can also expect a wider variety of items in the war bonds to avoid more of the same weapons being released, with a higher emphasis on originality and design. They don't elaborate on what this new release schedule will look like, but if we can assume this means every 2 months for half the guns in the previous war bonds, I'm not saying this is a huge problem on its own, but the gear they are putting into these war bonds will need to be polished, unique, and absolutely have a wow factor to them. Otherwise, I can see the community being rather upset at this change overall, as half the guns in double the time, those guns better be immaculate additions to the game, in my opinion, as a result of this. Which is then what they go on to promise, stating that it's time to focus on quality over quantity. When we started researching items for Viper Commandos, we wanted to be sure we answered our players' calls for stronger theming that actually coordinates across all the items, more emotes, and actually unique armor passives, as well as more thoughtful designs rather than simply giving more of the same in mass. Personally, I feel this should be the change we really need to see. Polar Patriots was an overall disappointing disaster, with only really the Pummeler SMG holding it up in the end as a unique addition to the arsenal, with the Tenderizer and Verdict being soundly in the more of the same bin. I'm definitely willing to give this new release schedule a chance as long as we avoid any further incidents like the Polar Patriots release. So, what are we getting here? Let's talk about the actual Warbond itself now. Armor wise, we are receiving the PH-202 Twig Snapper Heavy Armor with what will likely be 150 armor, and the PH-9 Predator likely light armor in the 50 to 79 armor range. Both of these armors have a new unique passive called Peak Physique, which relates to their exposed bulging biceps. This passive grants additional melee damage, which I would theorize to be between a 25% to 50% boost to our current 50 melee damage, maybe even an increase in armor penetration from 1 to 2 if we're lucky, as well as an improvement to weapon handling, which will likely be a 30% improvement to recoil control, like our current fortified armor passive grants. The theme and aesthetic of this armor is quite fun, even if it won't likely be a meta defining pick, and that's a okay in my opinion, as all we really need right now is an injection of fun and unique gear. We can also expect to receive the Mark of the Crimson Fang and Executioner's Canopy player banner slash capes, which are very much in the Jungle Commando Forest Camo theme of this Warbond. Looking pretty nice. Might try fitting one of these capes into a look or two on my own. The new victory poses are great additions, as always, but the emote mirrors the iconic scene from the 1987 movie Predator. At this point, we've received so many fantastic emotes, I really need Arrowhead to just give me an emote wheel already. One is just not sufficient for the level of liberty that I spread on a regular basis. Definitely seeing an uptick in cosmetic additions with this Warbond. We're also going to be receiving the game's first new patterns for your Hell Pods, exosuits, and even a Pelican 1 shuttle camo paint job. Palette swapping has been a heavily requested feature in the game when it comes to the ability to change out the colors and designs of armor, which this isn't, but hopefully this means we will see some of that coming soon to the game with these additions paving the way. Would have much preferred for us to see this kind of content refurbishing the Superstore, which gets a bit repetitive with its selection, unfortunately. But yeah, instead it's going to be taking up some space in our war bonds. To round off those cosmetic additions, though, you'll also be able to get a title with an associated title icon, Viper Commando, in this war bond. All right, that's finally it for the armor and cosmetics. Let's talk about the meat of the war bond, the weapons and the booster. For weapons, we are only receiving 2 new guns this time, so here's hoping they feel polished, unique, and most importantly, fun out of the box when it arrives. We are getting a new Liberator variant for the 5th time. The AR-23A Liberator Carbine promises to be a high recoil, spray and pray focused rifle with otherwise good handling. Nothing about this statement sounds even remotely impressive. I'm really hoping that the gun proves me wrong, or the assault rifle buffs that we are expecting change my interpretation of what this weapon will feel like. But as they are now, I'm expecting this gun to be dead on arrival. I'm sorry to say, as nothing sounds interesting, unique, or appealing here. I'd rather use the pummeler every time with its unique stun effect instead of whatever the hell this is supposed to be. All right, so how's the sidearm? Now, this is the kind of unique, exciting piece of gear I'm looking for, Arrowhead. The SG-22 Bushwhacker triple barrel break action shotgun will be coming to the battlefield sporting an optional fire mode that allows you to discharge all 3 barrels at once for massive bursts of damage from the secondary slot. While I do think this weapon will struggle to find a place within the meta of Helldivers 2 due to feeling much more comfortable running the grenade pistol during tournament missions for nest closure, and the automaton's range of engagement being on average beyond what I would expect a shotgun such as this to perform. I do feel this weapon will be an extremely fun addition all the same, though, which is fine for me. I don't need every new piece of gear to be meta defining, I just need them to be fun and unique. And the SG-22 Bushwhacker, with its ability to dump massive damage on a whim, definitely qualifies. In theory, we will be looking at anywhere between 200 to 400 damage per barrel, with what I imagine will be a armor penetration level of 2. Obviously, we're hoping for level 3 armor pen and 400 damage per barrel, but anything within this range should be a good time regardless, in my opinion. Now, the grenade slot is bringing an even higher level of uniqueness with a K2 throwing knife. I have a lot of hopes for this utility item, honestly. The damage we see it do in the trailer implies we can expect it to deal at least 110 damage, but we are really hoping for anything at the 150 or above range so that it can be thrown into Devastator heads for a one-shot kill. Most importantly, we can expect a utility slot like this to carry no sound profile, meaning ideally we will be able to utilize throwing knives during stealth gameplay to push through automaton facilities without raising the alarm at all. This could make for an extremely unique and fun style of play as a result. We can also hope swapping to the grenade slot will allow you to melee with this weapon for a higher than normal amount of melee damage, which would then also synergize with the new armor set as well. Melee combat, as underwhelming as we should expect it to be in the Helldivers 2 universe, is a highly requested feature in Helldivers 2 due to the concept being, again, a very fun one. So, here's hoping we will be able to sneak, melee, and retrieve these knives for yet another unique and fun addition from the Viper Commando bond. Last but not least, the booster promises some effects that could very easily become staples in the community's loadouts. Your stims will be laced with Super Crack. This booster causes all of your stims to carry an additional effect which boosts your movement speed and damage reduction temporarily. There are many situations in Helldivers 2 where a death occurs due to the incoming damage during the stim regen outpacing the healing, as well as being insufficient to get you to the next piece of cover in time. A speed boost and a damage reduction boost should remedy these situations very frequently. So, this booster is definitely something you should be excited to try out. That about covers everything worth talking about coming to us on the 13th with this new Warbond. Personally, I'm pretty excited to pick this one up and try out just about everything about it besides Liberator 5. Hopefully something changes with my perspective of assault rifles with the upcoming balance patch before we see this drop. But the rest of this Warbond looks much more exciting than the Polar Patriots incident at the very least. Let's hope I'm right and we receive a much needed injection of fun, Helldivers. Thanks for watching till the end, and have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.
And now, another helpful tip from General Brash.
Aravin has brought us great insight into how R&D's new Warbond may aid us in the battle for liberty. For this, I am ordering all active Helldivers to like, comment, and subscribe to his channel. Failure to do so will result in Liberator 5 being pre-nerfed. Brash tactics. Use them or die trying.